First of all, I think your analysis was very straight-lined. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing fowls.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go down that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got
that. Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but
the
an
Chinese critic.
erratic
Mikhail
detective is Mikhail Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, girl, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Kingdom, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi there, welcome to another edition of the Freddie Kissoon Show. Thanks for being with us. Last Monday was Independence. Once again, happy Independence Week. We've had all kinds of professionals on this program, economists, lawyers, doctors, journalists. We've never had an anthropologist. So the program is lucky this evening to have a professional, qualified anthropologist in the form of Dr. Kumar Mahabir. He is a lecturer at the University of Guyana in anthropology, and he also works out of Trinidad. He is a Trinidad citizen, but I think based on his work on Indian culture around the Caribbean, we would be correct to refer to him as a Caribbean man. Our guest this evening is Dr. Kumar Mahabir, out of Trinidad, but a lecturer in anthropology at the University of Guyana. It should be an interesting hour on Dr. Kumar's anthropological thoughts on Indian culture in the Caribbean. That is where his scholarship lies. Dr. Kumar, Dr.
Thank you.
Mahabir, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Akash.
Good to meet you. Our co-host, Akash Persaud. Let me start by first asking you, given all that you've written on Indian culture in the Caribbean, you're a practicing Hindu or Muslim?
Hindu.
You're a Hindu?
Yes.
Okay, because I see you have on your Raksha.
Yes, a Hindu symbol.
Yes,
Sutra.
Raksha Sutra. We had two Hindu guests, the former mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj Narain, and one of Ghana's leading financial expert, Joel Bagwandin, and they both wore the Raksha Sutra on the program. So, namaste.
Namaste.
Akash father was one of Guyana's leading pandits.
Indeed, yes.
Very
Pandit Krishna Prasad.
Very committed. Now, Dr. Kumar, you've been writing a lot on Indian culture, and sometimes you don't mince your words. So let me ask you something about Guyana. I'm Guyanese, Akash is Guyanese. We feminist program in Guyana. You have strong views about the Indian presence in the Caribbean. What's your views on the Indian historical, contemporary, and current presence of the Indians in Guyana?
Right, thank you. So let me, you've mentioned the word anthropologist many times, so maybe I should probably tell the wider audience about anthropology, what it is, because a lot of people think that anthropology is just the excavation, digging for bones, relics, artifacts, and so on that have been left by generations gone by. But that is just one aspect of anthropology, which is called archaeology. There are many other aspects, subfields of anthropology, linguistic anthropology, in which we study different varieties of languages and languages. Like in Guyana, you have a lot of languages. And many of them are dying, sadly. A language is like a living thing, so you have death of a language. So that's linguistic anthropology. Then you have archaeology, which is the digging for relics and artifacts. And then you have biological anthropology, in which you study evolution, you study bones and so on, very scientific. And then you have cultural anthropology, which is the study of culture. Which I believe
is your area.
Which is my area. But I am, in all of these fields, there are subdivisions, and I'm a medical anthropologist, which means that I study health and healing outside of the biomedicine, outside of what is seen and practiced and known in the hospitals and health centers and so on. The traditional healing, the folk healing, the alternative healing, and I've done my PhD on postnatal care at the University of Florida, in which I studied women who have just given birth, postpartum care. After they have left the hospital, after they have delivered their babies, they go home, and there's a midwife or maidi or dagrin who treats them, give them a herbal bath, abdominal ban, have various types of protective amulets for the baby because they are vulnerable in every way. So I did a whole PhD dissertation on that, and I've published that in book form. So that's the anthropology part. But let me say more, it's unfortunate that anthropology is not a compulsory subject in the schools. It is not even offered in CAPE, CXC CAPE or CSEC. And it is just one or two courses being offered at universities in the Caribbean. At UG, we are fortunate to have an entire program. You can get an associate degree in anthropology. Anthropology is so interesting and so relevant, particularly for the Caribbean, because in the Caribbean, you have a whole mixture of races and cultures, and it's fluid. And so I don't see why we shouldn't have anthropology being taught at degree levels, at the university level, and at CSEC, and it should be compulsory. Because if we study anthropology, which is the study of diversity, of cultures, diversity, then we'll be able to understand each other better, appreciate each other better, because we'll see that there are a lot of similarities, and I think that would mitigate this ethnic tension and this competition and enmity that we have among ourselves that plagues societies like Guyana. So I think teaching of anthropology can help tremendously in this respect.
Akash?
That is so refreshing to hear, It jogs my memory to something that my grandfather used to do, and I would like to have your thoughts on this. I don't know if you know about it, but here is what happened. I grew up in an island called Wakenham in the Essequibo River. I don't know if you've been there.
Yes, I have.
It's a beautiful, one of the best, it's a little patch of paradise. My grandfather, who is a second generation, his parents came from India. My grandfather there are people in the villages and around the surrounding communities that will bring their kids when they have asthma, this wheezing. And my grandfather will send me to this neighbor who had what we call a buck cotton tree. It's a cotton tree, right?
Yes.
And I will pick a stem. He will measure 7 inches.
Yeah.
And he will put a knife into this thing.
Yeah.
And the child would sit there with the mother, and then he will do this, what we call jarre. He will break this thing up into 7 pieces and ask me to take it and throw it into the Essequibo River. And do you know, someone contacted me from New York the other day and said that when she was a child, she knew that she was going to our home, but she wasn't sure why. And then her mother told her why she used to go there. That my grandfather used to do this jarre, and immediately these kids would have relief. Tell us you know, I'm very interested in this, and you talk about healing and anthropology. This is outside of the medical realm, but what are your thoughts on these things?
I think my parents, I think my mother, her auntie, them used to gyrate babies. I think so.
Yeah. But specifically for this wheezing and this asthma problem, this piece of cotton, and he would measure it with the 7 inches, and he put this knife into it. He would gyrate his baby, blow, and then he'd break it up and tell me throw it. And by the time I come back, the baby's okay.
Well, think about that, Dr. Mahabir.
Yeah. So let me, before I address that folk healing, traditional healing, alternative healing topic, let me say that Guyana is a gold mine for anthropologists. Yes. A gold mine. There's so many things that are going on here that is, it's amazing. And that should be studied more and more. It's not really studied. So that I'm a Trinidadian. I've lived almost all my life in Trinidad, but Guyana is my second home. I've been here about 12 times. And I've gone through the length of breadth of Guyana. I've gone to Wakenham. I've gone to Lethem. There isn't any place here that I haven't gone to.
You gotta go see Kaicho Falls.
Yes, but I haven't as yet. But soon. And I am fortunate in that whenever I'm coming to Guyana, I come with a good friend named Jai Says, who is a Guyanese who has been living in Grenada for about 40 years. He is the manager for one of the Gaffur's business in Grenada. So whenever he's coming to Guyana, he has his house and so on here, holiday house really, he brings me to Lime. Yeah,
we know.
That's part of West Indian vocabulary.
Right, so you bring it to Lime, and so we hire a car and we go driving everywhere and spend night here and there and so on. And it's amazing. Even the landscape, we're getting to the folk medicine, yes, but the landscape, you have a coca. We don't have that coca in Trinidad. What we call a river is a little canal compared to your...
This country have hundreds of cocos. When the watchman sleep and he left the cocoa open,
it's flood. He drink the night before and come.
They had cocoa attendants that drunk and slept away and wash out parts of the
Right, so you have dams and so on, you have the pond, you have a lot of things and vocabulary that we don't have.
83,000 square miles.
Yes, we don't have in Trinidad. That creek, CRWK. I mean, that word doesn't exist for us in Trinidad.
My goodness, Dr. Mahabir, sorry to cut you. If you go down the Kanchi Creek, and it's down the Kanchi Creek, the 1763 Rebellion Coffee, it's never ending. You will ask the driver of the speedboat where you're going to end. The Kanji Creek never ending. Mahaika Creek never ending. You have taken those journeys?
Yes.
Oh.
Everywhere. Pomeroon and everywhere I've gone.
And you never asked the speedboat operator, when are we going to stop?
Yes, I have. So I went to the Pomeroon and I was taking jump from the boat and so on. The river is like the highway. There are no cars going down there at that time. I don't know now. And so we would go in this little boat, and Amerindians and so on, native Indians would row. And I was bathing in the river, and then somebody mentioned they have piranhas there. I jumped out one time.
They will bite you and you will die.
Before you come to folk medicine, before you go back to the question, let me ask you, the type of piranha, as an anthropologist, are you aware of another fish called the kangaroo?
Well, maybe you have a wider variety here.
The kangaroo is the one that this may sound strange, but the one, if you're urinating in the water, it follows the urine stream and goes up into your urethra.
Yeah.
The kangaroo, it's in the Amazon.
Right.
So careful when you're peeing in the water.
Yeah. So, it's a gold mine, man, and you have so many different types of ecology, vegetation, flora, fauna. It's amazing. And I've been coming here a long time. In fact, I have a manuscript which was done in about 1990, which I haven't published yet, depicting the poverty in Guyana, because Guyana at that time was one of the poorest country probably in the Western Hemisphere after Haiti, if not in the Caribbean. So I depicted, it's a pictorial study. I took photographs So I'm working on it to bring it to fruition, to publish. And so I went everywhere and talked to people, take photographs and so on. And it's really amazing landscape. It's really amazing culture. And why I like to come to Guyana at that time and even now, because certain parts remind me of Trinidad in the 1950s. Because you still, even the city here, you have the Dray cart that pulls thing, which it doesn't exist in Trinidad. It's gone. So you have a lot of things there that are interesting to anthropologists, and then the English Creole language of talking. You know, it's really fascinating, and these things must be documented before they are gone.
Mama Joe, what you saying, man? You talk against
yes.
You understand what you're saying? You get the thing for me, man?
Sure, yes. And
this, you would understand when people, somebody in Guyana said, man, you get the thing for me, man?
Yeah. Oh, I was talking to Tutamanga the other day. I met him.
Former historian.
I said, man, you don't respond to my emails and so on. I calling you. He said, man, I'm not feeling well, man. I have a head swing. So I was what is the head swing?
They don't say that.
No. So it's amazing. Coming back to the point about the folk medicine is that in my PhD thesis, which I published in book form, I contextualize this folk healing in a framework of biomedicine versus traditional medicine. And biomedicine, which is hospital medicine, which is a doctor medicine, is doing everything in its power. It's almost victorious in stamping out, eradicating, putting a stigma to traditional medicine. And they use the media, very powerful, because they have the money, they're well organized, they're powerful. Pharmaceutical industry is big, $1 million business. So they have gotten everybody, they have conquered everybody almost to believe that if you have a headache, you have a fever, you have a rash, something, you go to the pharmacy. Big industry. Pharmacists are wealthy people. Pharmaceutical industry is big. Whereas we can go and boil some calabash bush and so on, some herb you could pick in the backyard. We are no longer doing that again. And this is bad for us because this is foreign currency we have to spend because these pharmaceuticals are manufactured elsewhere. So we have to buy things that we could have grown and used in our own backyard. But we have been socialized. We have been educated uneducated to believe that these things don't work. That is for old people. That is bush medicine thing. That is hocus pocus. That is superstition. That's not good, right? And nobody is doing the jari and thing again because it's therapeutic. A lot of medicine is in the mind, right? So placebo effect.
Yes, that's right.
So you go to the doctor, you get thing, you feel good. Everything they're running to the doctor, everything they're running to the hospital and so on. When we can have the capacity and the ability to cure ourselves of a lot of ailments. And even medicine has failed because there is no cure for AIDS, no cure for diabetes, no cure for baldness. Cancer. You can manage it. I have a brother who is almost blind because he has
diabetes.
No, how you call it?
Glaucoma.
Glaucoma. There's no cure for that. No cure.
Neither arthritis. So we have to tap into our folklore, our traditional medicine, and try to bring some kind of treatment. If not cure it, manage it, because there's no cure for diabetes, but you buy so many tablets and so on, glucophage and all of that to manage and the diabetes. But there are herbs which we have to explore. The government, the university should have a whole department in which they are doing chemical studies and so on to see which active ingredients can be used. So, but it's not to the benefit of the pharmaceutical company. Right, because they have money, they have millions, they can pay for research. They pay for research to show that their tablet, their medicine, is better and is effective. And they bombard us in the advertisement. So they control our mind.
And so they get us to do away with this traditional medicine and the prayer and so on. Prayer is a medicine too, right? So,
but you support traditional medicine in the Caribbean.
Yes,
like
yes,
using
yes.
herbs, certain leaves,
Yes, yes.
put it on your...
Right. So I'm not saying that we should do away with the biomedicine, the doctor's medicine and so on. It should be complementary, right? It should be alternative as an auxiliary. It can be used together or sometimes alone. Right, and to treat these ailments that afflict us, for which sometimes there is no cure, like my brother, who is almost blind and lives alone, with glaucoma. So we are trying all kind of thing. I'm using him as an experiment to use different herbs to see if his eyesight can be restored. Because he has spent a lot of money going to the doctor, and they have done laser surgery. They have given him injections. They have given him tablets, eye drops, all kind of thing. There's nothing, no cure.
You can rattle off your head some traditional things you would advise Guyanese. Well, the diaspora wouldn't want. They don't have access to that. But there is a guy named Emmanuel Cummins, Dr. Emmanuel Cummins from the School of Medicine. I don't know if you met him.
I know him.
He said Karaila helps diabetes.
Jamun.
Jamun. So studies have to be done with the Karaili, with the Jamun, as you rightly said. And there are a lot of herbs and so on that can be used. Sometimes natural medicine. I have met a guy who was taking insulin, and he said he went on a vegetable diet, steam diet, throughout. And he no longer has to use that medication again, that insulin. So by natural medicine, even by exercise, proper sleep, mind, it has to be holistic. The doctors, when we go to them, they don't treat you holistically. Sometimes the problem is at home, is at your house, with your family, that is triggering off this ailment.
Psychosomatic.
Yes, like yoga, yin and yang, and so on, all these systems of different ways of treating illness. So sometimes something is not in equilibrium. And so it has an impact on us, and it affects us in different ways. So we have to find doctors and healing systems, like in Africa, like in India. India has the Ayurvedic system, right? Where you can get a degree. They have universities, they have colleges, right? Alternative medical systems, which our government should be introducing. But our government is not doing that, because why? The pharmaceutical companies, right? They have the money, and they are funding and paying for research and building hospitals and so on. So they're bribing on their way for to have that dominance and monopoly, which they have, right? I would like to see Caribbean and third world countries go back to the traditional medicine, and not with the old lady or old man in the village and so on. Make it institutionalized. Have courses, have degrees, offer diplomas, training. Right, we don't have to start. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Ayurveda is there in India.
That's right.
Now medicine. You have different types of acupuncture, right?
I was just going to call that with those needles in your back.
Those needles and so on. Now they have acupressure, so you press certain points in your skin. You don't have to take needles. And people have to turn to these alternative medicine, because Western medicine has reached a dead end for some ailments, as we have mentioned, with the diabetes and so on. And so we have to look at the food we eat. It has to be holistic. The food we eat may be causing us to get ill, and be in disease and dis-ease, and be out of whack, out of equilibrium. And so the yoga is an alternative system of healing too. So that has to be done. Meditation is one, and meditation has been shown to be very effective in the prisons, right? Experiments have been done, but the governments would not push that because they are not being paid. They are not being paid.
But
funding is not given.
Dr. Mahabir, you don't think we're dealing here with cultural imperialism? Those huge pharmaceutical companies, they do they know about cranberry. So they say cranberry is good for your kidneys.
Yes.
But they don't know about sorrel.
Exactly.
They don't know about...
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Right.
We have
So they deal with
indoctrinated.
but don't you think they should come down and explore these things in the third world that could help
No.
the world's population? You may have
what's up?
You may have fruits in these things.
help you sleep.
that-
Yeah, the leaves.
But don't you think it's cultural imperialism? That is the third world.
Yes,
We're interested in going down there.
yes.
We're interested in doing
Yes.
it. But they're interested in your
it's
goal.
neo-colonialism, it's imperialism still in practice. They would not come because it would be going against their ethos, against their values, against their profit motive. We in these third world countries have to take the initiative to have our own researchers, our own manufacturers, our own media outputs and so on, project the positive aspects of traditional medicine. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't come. In fact, if they come, they would go to the Amazon or somewhere in the rainforest and look for some herbs and so on, exploit the native people, find out what they use for this and so on, take it and go back and make it into a drug. And they get billions, the little Amerindian community gets nothing. So they do that all the time. They do send people to go in these nation tribes in the interior and find out what is being treated for this and that and so on, and take it back. So it's exploitation.
You know something in Trinidad named Ajinomoto? It's a spice. It's a thing for your food that you put it, sell all over Guyana.
Monosodium glutamate.
Right. Now, that was invented in Japan, but there's some talk that the Americans see it as a threat, and the Americans say, no, it's not good. But there is this lingering controversy about how good or how phenomenal is coconut oil.
Yes, right.
Is it the best form of
Yes,
of oil?
it's all propaganda, man. It's all propaganda which we have bought. We
Because they want to sell canola and vegetable oil.
They want to sell canola and palm oil.
Yes, coconut oil, which we have.
You would recommend coconut oil?
Yes, definitely, for everything. Your hair, you keep your hair black, you keep your hair intact. It's good for the skin, right? And they say it's good to use for your gums.
Oil pulling.
It strengthens the gum. But again, the propaganda, the media, right, militates against that kind of belief and practice. So from childhood we have been hearing an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apple, not guava, or avocado,
or
mango, an apple a day. So it's still with us. And we are becoming more and more Americanized now, not only with the pharmaceuticals.
Because of the internet,
the way we dress, our language, the children, little children at home, they're watching TV and they're talking American accent.
We have guests that came on this program that are not American citizens, and they would say anyways.
I say anyways.
It's anyway. I grew up, and I would insist in saying Z.
Yeah.
I saw one of the best political movies ever made called Z.
Yeah.
About the military coup in Greece.
Yeah.
And I just automatically say Z, and I think it should be Z.
Yeah.
The American says Z.
Yeah.
But if the American says Z, fine. But why we in the third world saying Z?
Yeah.
It's the influence. You see what the internet is.
Powerful influence, man. We are becoming, we fight here so much in these multi-ethnic societies about African, Indian, this, but if you really do analysis, we are more American than Indian or African in the Caribbean. Look our diet, the McDonald's and the KFC, and oh my God.
Obesity.
That's the other thing, heart disease and whatnot.
But don't you think India's to be blamed, man? India's a major industrial country with so much. India should be flooding the world market with these salutary products.
Yes. In time.
What is wrong with India?
India is a growing superpower, and in time it was going to penetrate the markets. America doesn't like India because it's a competitor, and they don't like China. But in time, India would get the freedom to do the export and to sell products and so on. But it will come. It will come. Eventually.
Akash?
There are two books that I read that painted a picture of Trinidad for me. I've never been to Trinidad, you know. It's
Oh, you
closest
should,
we are.
you should.
I travel, but I don't go
I've
to-
been to Trinidad.
The one
Well, you know
called
me now, you know me now.
A Year in San Fernando.
Yes.
And another
Michael
book,
Anthony.
Yes, and another book, one of V.S. Naipaul's best book for me is A House for Mr.
Yes,
Biswas.
classic.
We should have asked you in the
I
beginning.
like the Mimic Men.
Oh, right.
As I think it typifies West Indian.
Yeah, you know, there are some beautiful scenery that comes into my mind every day. A House of Mr. Biswas has stuck with me forever.
Yeah, it is a classic. Man.
Yeah, and you know, as I said, maybe we should rise this a little bit more. But what are some of the things you experienced as a young man growing up, as a young kid growing up in Trinidad, that helped to shape your career as an anthropologist?
Yeah. So I grew up in the countryside, as most of us, but I did not grow up in the sugarcane belt. So I'm a minority Indian.
Okay.
And most Indians in Trinidad live central Trinidad and south Trinidad. I live northeast. My great-grandparents came from India. I've been able to identify them, but not visitors yet, coming from Bihar. And they came, of course, all of them came, like our great-grandparents, to work in sugarcane estates, first as indentured immigrants, and we're going to talk about reparation later. And after the term of indentureship would have expired, they moved out and they went into cocoa. So I am from a cocoa growing family. My father had like 30 acres, cocoa, coffee, bananas, chataine, which you probably call koa and all kind of things.
Chataine is, we call it katahar.
Katahar, right.
We call it katahar.
Yeah, we call it chataine. Different names. And yam and things. So you intercrop and grow a lot of things. So I grew up in that environment. And then we used to plant rice and watermelon too, unlike the typical Indian in Trinidad. And so we were in the countryside, and I grew up at a time imagining that we had no television. I saw television for the first time only when I was 11 years old. We went to
which was worse than here. We saw till you were in our late 20s.
Right. And we went to school without shoes, walking great distance,
same here.
2.5 miles. And no backpack.
I walked to UG with a pair of slippers.
Oh, okay.
And when it burst, thing it up with a pen. With a pin.
Yeah.
And a PPP lead, I never said that, I wrote about it. And we had a PPP leader here named Hyder Ali, and he mentioned it to the viewership.
Okay.
And I used to pin up my rubber slipper.
Yeah. So
it's similar Caribbean.
So we had hardly a newspaper would come by, once a week or thing.
You're a country boy. You was the same in Guyana.
Yeah, yes. And so the only thing, a form of education or entertainment I had was to read a book. And my brother was a teacher, elder brother, so he had that influence. So all of us would read books. And reading books and so on, I said, well, I want to write too, because I want to tell the world of this experience that I'm undergoing. And so I became interested in wanting to write. And writing, I have done about 12 books and still going on. And I wanted to tell the world about our experience growing up in the countryside. And so then I had to move out, like most people, from the countryside when I wrote the common entrance exam, which you had here in Guyana at one time, because I had to go to school, the high school.
Yeah.
The high school.
We still have it here. It's got a different name.
Yeah, different. Same thing here. Yeah. Same thing in Trinidad. And then I moved to the urban area, and I went to school. And so it is this anthropology. I was doing anthropology before I knew the word anthropology, because I would have gone, always interested in talking to elderly folks to hear about their past experiences and long time days. And so I would talk to them, and I would like to visit places and see things and document it. So that's anthropology, right? Going out of your comfort zone, out of the area in which you grew up, talking to people of different races, different cultures, and so on. And then I said, well, I heard of the name anthropology. Let me study that. At the time I went to UE, University of the West Indies, I studied literature as in English. I did my MA and BA there, and if it was a later time, I would have done film studies, but that wasn't offered there then, because I always like to make documentary and films and so on, not movies necessarily, but documentary films. But that was not being offered. And I liked art too. I was in the early days, like most kids in the countryside, they like to draw and paint and so on. But it was not offered at that time when I was going to university for a degree. Otherwise, I would have pursued that, and I would have had my degree in that. So I did my MPhil and thinking I wanted to study anthropology. So there was no internet then at that time, 1990. And so I wrote letters. I went to the library, got books with American universities. I saw a few of them. I wrote, and the University of Florida accepted me, and I went. Now, unlike the person of today, they will go on the internet and Facebook and see the university, see the picture and everything. I didn't know where I was going. Right? When I took the plane and bus and so, I didn't know where I was going. The driver would say, okay, you reach. And then I would come out. So there's a lot of opportunities here now for the younger generation with this technology. And they should take advantage of it. But with technology also has come its danger. I teach now many students. One of the courses I teach is like academic reading and writing. And students now, they go to ChatGPT. You give a child a topic, they go to the computer, type it in, and
it's written
1 second. The answer is there.
In about 10 paragraphs too.
Yes, exactly. You just have to feed it with what you want. Journalists are doing that too now, because they comb the internet. That robot, that bot, combs the internet and gives you what you want.
You've written a lot. I mean, anybody Google your name, you would see the interest in Indian culture in the Caribbean. You Google your name, you find. You think it is feasible to call for reparation for indentured generation?
So let's talk.
They don't want to pay reparations for slavery. They don't pay reparations.
No, they're paying. There was one. Didn't the Glasgow family come here?
He came to apologize.
No, he gave £100,000 pounds, man.
£100,000?
Yes.
But what is that in the context of Guyana?
I don't know. No, he said that's an early installment.
£100,000, I think £6,000 would be $1 million Guyanese. So it's how much million Guyanese you don't need there. Anyway, but
they are giving.
They're giving.
Yes, they are giving. So
they means who?
Oh,
Rishi Sunak
the descendants of
Rishi Sunak, an Indian Prime Minister, say he's not interested in
I
that.
know.
He may be out of power in June.
Yes. So let's talk about indentureship now. Indentureship, again, like Indian culture, has been marginalized. Here's a footnote. Indentureship in the CXC syllabus, whether CSEC or CAPE, is not even a full unit. It's a footnote. It's something you do as a reference. It's not like a unit or a big topic like slavery or apprenticeship or emancipation. I'm not saying it's big as that. Indentureship is as big as slavery, but it deserves some study and recognition. It's not really studied. It's not really there. So there's two. Let's take my case. I did O-levels history. I did A-levels, right? A-level, those days we had to do A-levels, Cambridge or something like that. I had to study about indentureship after I left school. It was never in the syllabus. The syllabus on history ended after emancipation, ended after apprenticeship. I had to do all the studies on my own. So it's good now that countries like that has a majority Indian population, like Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname, on their own they are taking it upon themselves to give to public education, right? To write like Betoram is doing, and to have lectures and seminars and so on. And this is how the general population is learning about indentureship. Otherwise, it's marginalized. Like Indians, and unfortunately, like in Guyana, we do have the word Indian before Indian Arrival Day. I mean, who came on May 5th? Who else? Except Indians. But that's a whole political issue.
You don't have that in Trinidad.
We have Indian Arrival Day.
Oh, yeah.
The word Indian.
It's called Indian Arrival Day?
Yes, it's called Indian Arrival.
It's a holiday?
It's a holiday.
Okay.
And interestingly, last couple of weeks ago,
that came under Bisasa, Kamla Bisasa, right?
No, before Pandey.
Before.
Pandey.
Pandey.
It's since Pandey, 995.
Okay.
And before. So interestingly, a couple of weeks ago, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, renamed Emancipation Day to African Emancipation Day. So, he's right.
Oh, there's official name African Emancipation.
No,
because emancipation means emancipation of slavery.
Yeah.
But he want to be emphatic.
Exactly. So the holiday is now renamed. Right?
African
Emancipation Day. But so let me tell you, that's one. Indians are marginalized in every way. We are just window dressing. We are token Indian culture.
Even in Trinidad?
Even in Trinidad. And I can give you examples of that, evidence of that. So when you look at, you have to look at the funding. That's how you know how much respect and recognition a government gives to a culture. When you look at Indian Arrival Day and Emancipation Day, look at the government funding, it's chalk and cheese. They give less than $1 million TT for Indian Arrival Day, but they give millions to Emancipation Day. This causes enmity, this causes competition, this causes rivalry, because the governments, and I don't know the statistics here, you have to look at that. What is the budget? What is the figure? And I believe there should be equity. I believe there should be inclusion and diversity, right? Probably not the same money, but give a respectable sum. And look at the Carifesta, since a brainchild of Burnham. And you have token Indian representation. The population of Guyana and Trinidad and Suriname, majority Indian population, right? Relatively. But when you look at Carifesta, that Indian presence is not reflected in representation with the numbers. Look at Carifesta and look at the groups that are going, and look at the number of performances. Even Trinidad and Tobago, when you have a national cultural performance, one tassa, one dance. That is it for Indians, although we are the majority population. So even when it's an Indian-led government, whether Pandey is in power, Basdev Pandey or Kamla Persaud Bisesa is in power, it's almost like a template. And
but they're in power.
When Basdev Pandey was in power, he was Prime Minister. He made an important statement, which must be remembered, very, very important, and must be quoted. He told me, we are in office, not in power. Because the bureaucracy...
That was famous, that's a famous jargon statement.
Oh, okay.
But this is long after independence. But Dr. Mahabir, you gotta remember these politicians say things to please people.
Yes.
I mean, this guy is the Prime Minister of the leading
but the bureaucracy, the public service.
But public servants have to carry out policies. They may try to sabotage it, etc. Now, I'll give you one example, and I'd like your thoughts on this matter. Pandey, neither Bisesa, you would expect them.
Yeah.
I didn't expect any other. I didn't expect Manning.
Right.
I expected Pandey or Bisesa to have acceded to the appellate court of the CCJ. The CCJ is in Trinidad.
Oh, well, that is a whole different topic, and that is a topic that is debatable, because the local, a large segment of the Trinidad population has said, no. There is too much of ethnic rivalry and competition and all kind of animosity between the two races, which are ethnic politics, like in Guyana.
But what do I have to do with
I'm telling you, I'm coming to that.
President.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
President Jackson.
So this, you never know, this may be an overspill, right? In the Caribbean, you have the same black and Indian rivalry. Well, let's take our matters to England, where you have white people who are not into the cut and thrust of politics, who might not have a family here or there, have no affiliation, they don't care. There is a school of thought that believes that we will get a fairer judgment if the matter is taken to the Privy Council rather than the CCJ.
But you know that doesn't obtain anymore. The Guyana government, which is headed by an Indian for almost 20-something years.
Yeah.
They lost for 5 years and is headed back by an Indian guy.
Yeah.
This government have won about 10 consecutive decisions in the CCJ.
Yes, yes.
And the people opposing it were African politicians.
Yes, yes.
I mean, that thing we have to exercise ourselves.
Yes.
You can't expect working class family who got charged with murder or rape or
No.
you can't expect them to you can't expect them to finance a lawyer to go to London.
They are not for. We should take many constitutional matters there, right? Not the civil criminal
But
cases.
you don't think we have matured now as a people? The CCJ has a Dutch judge. It has people from outside the Caribbean.
It has a global.
But,
and there is the feeling, I'm not saying this is my feeling, there is a
you're
feeling.
saying that they should have acceded to it.
Yeah.
And leave out constitutional matters.
They should.
But they haven't acceded to it at all.
Yeah. So, right. So there is a debate right now, and has always been a debate in Trinidad, whether we should have CCJ or Privy Council as a final court of appeal. And because, I'm coming back again, because of the ethnic rivalry that runs deep, it's in the institution, it's embedded in people's DNA almost, right? That if there is an Indian there, you have a black jury and so on, you're in doubt whether you're going to get justice or not. So it's a perception. It's a perception. And you as a complainant, you as a defendant want to feel that you will be heard fairly and you will be judged fairly. If you as an Indian go there and they're all black judges.
We didn't have that in
I know.
We acceded to the CCJ.
Yes, I know.
Barbados has.
Yes, I know.
Belize has.
Right.
Trinidad is a disappointing man.
Well, there are reasons for that. And there is a debate. And let's see what will come out of it.
But you think they're going to join anytime soon?
Well, the pressure is on, as you saying, it's that colonial legacy with the white judges and so on, but we still wear wig and thing here, and we wear coat and thing, we still have the colonial legacy. We call him my lord and all kind of thing. We call him my lord, we still have jacket and tie.
Not in Guyana. You say your honor. We don't say my lord anymore.
But I think that's a colonial legacy.
Your honor?
Yeah, it is. We wear jacket and tie and the thing and worship and all kind of thing like that. The whole parliamentary system is a colonial legacy, which we should formulate our own. This whole opposition and parliament and so on is perpetuating this rivalry and bitterness among the races because of the system we have inherited. It's a British system. What new have we created in terms of a parliamentary democracy? We haven't created anything. We have to create something.
You sound like your Nobel Prize, your Nobel Peace guy in Trinidad, the man who won the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. V.S. Naipaul. What has the Caribbean created?
No, we have created a lot. We have created. Man, we create steel pan. We create our own. We have tassa, doubles and things.
Bob Marley.
The chutney music and
Chris
things.
Gayle.
We have created. Right?
Akash?
Yeah, I want to get. I know time is going to run out.
Because our roti different. Roti different.
I have to ask.
We got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was coming to Guyana, I wonder what to bring for certain people like you.
Doubles.
No, I say, boy, so tamarind ball. He said, nah, they had that.
We got
They had that. So I said, what should I bring? So a Trinidad guy here, he said, you have to bring the curry from Trinidad.
Okay.
Our curry is different.
Yeah, you do a curry stew thing.
Chicken.
No, but the powder.
Oh,
the powder is different.
Let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
Anthropology again, and you spoke about one aspect of anthropology being language.
Yeah.
We and Trinidad, we are so close, but yet we share some differences in the way we say things. You mentioned the word Shatine.
Yeah.
Bodi, Bora.
Bora, right.
Karaili, Karaila.
Yeah.
Pomsite, golden
You
apple.
say curry, you say sauce. Well, when I buy pulori and thing here.
We got
they say sour.
We got a fruit named Plummy. Y'all said governor some. Well, yeah, what
Guinea and
yes,
Chinep, they said chinep.
and what you say for sejam? We have a little red fruit named sejam. What you say for them yellow plum? We got a plum. Little yellow plum.
I think it's more native to this part of the world.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: why, from an anthropological
point of view,
why the difference in these words? Is it a Bhojpuri thing?
Okay, so again, as Beturam was saying in an earlier program, history is important. It's important to study history because history explains the present, and history can chart the way forward. And we must learn from mistakes of the past, otherwise we repeat these mistakes. So you had a strong Dutch influence here. I'm writing a whole paper on that, academic paper on the Dutch legacy, beside the coca and the dam and the creek and the seawall that you built, which is amazing, almost Dutch. 200 miles long, that seawall. This is amazing, right? Mind-boggling. So the Dutch legacy here is in the infrastructure, but the Dutch has left a legacy here with the spelling of the names and so on. The Persaud. Every person you see with a last name P-R-S-A-U-D is a Guyanese.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is a Guyanese.
There are no
Trinidadians.
There are no Persauds in India.
Yeah, no Trinidadian last name is P-R-S-A-U-D.
Yes, they
right?
have that in Israel.
Right. So the names of places and so on, strong Dutch influence. So the Dutch influence has the street names, the names. We came under the British, but that legacy is still there, the British legacy. And I think in Suriname or in South Africa, more people from South Africa went there than we came from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. So it depends where the majority of people came from, right? But
why Shatay and Katahar, man?
It's some kind of influence with it's the heritage, the colonial heritage. Because my father, for instance, could have spoken Patois, that is spoken French, French dialect, Hindi, and English. We uneducated people like us, this time we could only speak English.
They all say crapo in Trinidad, you know.
You
say crapo.
Frog.
Yeah. You say crapo.
So
is a French word.
He used a lot of patois words like poya for cutlass.
Okay.
Right? Pembois for breadfruit or bread nut. So I picked up a few words from my father who could have spoken patois fluently. And that's because of the French influence. The French had a strong influence in Trinidad. French had so much of a strong influence in Trinidad that is reflected in the carnival. Because Mardi Gras, Juve, these are French words. Right? A lot of places, Chaflet and so on, places. So you have to look at the names of the places that reflects that history and legacy. And hence the reason why we call things differently.
What are the foods you have you ate for this is your 13th visit? You said you visited 12 times. So this will be 13. What are the foods you ate in Guyana that you haven't seen in Trinidad? You've ate sedium, monkey apple.
Yes, I went to the market. Yes, I would have tasted everything. I like to experiment.
So you had mami, you had sejam.
You have a barahar?
Yes.
What?
You know, I did a book on medicinal plants. It's there, medicinal and edible plants. You can Google it. I have, barahar is there. It's like like a, not the katahar. There is a fruit. I will remember.
Sugar apple kind of thing.
Yeah.
You got
Chalta.
Yeah.
You know chalta?
What's chalta? I know what's it. I know. If you tell me what it is in Guyana,
it's a family of that.
It's the same texture.
We make achar and kuchila with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all got achar in Trinidad, right?
Yes.
The only thing about kuchila is that they in a song. That word kuchila.
Oh, yeah.
So what food when you go to Starbucks Market and Bodo Market, and you've seen yards and yards and yards of stands with all kinds of food, bowl of squash, and at the end of the day they're throwing it away, the vendors gone. They don't have that in Trinidad, do they? You have these huge stands with all kinds of greens.
Yeah. You have a farmer's
they
market in
come in-
Trinidad. You have wholesale vegetable market. You have retail vegetable market, and they don't
But you have the profusion of agricultural products.
But you would have a wider variety because if your landscape. Remember, you are 183,000 square miles. We are
3,000. You're 1,900, 199.
Yeah.
199 square miles.
2,000 square
Just
miles.
2,000 square
Yeah.
miles.
So our whole country could fit in one river or pond or creek in Guyana. So you have a wider variety and you have different ecology.
I've only been to Trinidad one time. You got
well, now you know
garlic
me.
pork?
You can come. What?
You got garlic pork in Trinidad?
Yeah, that's a big thing for them in Trinidad.
Garlic pork.
Oh yeah, it's common. It's common.
Pepper pot.
Not pepper pot. Not pepper pot.
They have,
Pepper pot and common
the big
pepper
thing
pot.
for them. The big thing for them at Christmas is the ham.
Yes.
Well, we have that, but you don't pepper pot in Big Deal?
No.
It's unique only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have doubles. We invented doubles in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And steel pan.
And steel pan. And our sada roti and dal puri and
No,
paratha.
we got it here. We got salad.
You have the dal puri big like this table here?
Yeah. Your dal
okay.
your dal puri is very, very big.
Yes. No, the paratha is big like bust up shot.
Bust up shot.
Big like this table.
Yeah.
Big like this table is and they have invented a paddle to beat it up.
Cook up rice with tripe and pigtail.
Yes. Pilau.
Pilau is their thing, yeah.
Pilau.
No, but pilau is a different thing here.
They do it.
We our word is simply cook up rice.
No,
Then you
but
got
theirs is
pilau.
different. No,
Yeah,
pilau is different, yeah.
Pilau is different.
Yeah.
But you've had cook up rice here?
Yeah, I bet
You've had
everything,
cook-up
man.
rice?
Everything.
Pilau is made with coconut milk.
Yeah.
But they burn the sugar at the bottom of the pot
Oh,
first.
we don't, cook up rice don't have the sugar in it.
Before the show comes to a close, I cannot have a Trinidadian sitting here and don't ask you this one question.
Sure.
Who's your favorite cricketer?
Favorite cricketer? Without a big Guyanese one.
No. I mean, it can be a Trinidadian. Anybody.
Yeah.
No, but you have to ask him who's his favorite Trinidadian cricketer. Who's his favorite? But if you want, you can ask him. If you want, you can ask him the academic question.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite cricketer? My favorite cricketer is a Jamaican. Right.
Yes.
The guy with
the
the
young guy, you have Sarwan.
You like Ramiro Sarwan?
Yeah, Ramiro Sarwan.
He sat in his very seat.
Who you like for Trinidad? It got to be Larry's the name everybody come to know.
Yeah.
Larry's the name?
Yeah, Brian Lara.
Brian Lara for
he's
Trinidad.
well known in India, eh?
Yeah.
When you go to India, if I go to India and they ask me, where are you from? I say Trinidad. I say, where Trinidad? West Indies. I said, no. I say Brian Lara country. Yes.
Yeah, so they know Lara.
Yes, he defines the Caribbean.
The most like the way Bob Marley does.
Yes.
The most underachieved cricketer for me, coming out of Trinidad, was a guy named Suraj Dragonath. All the talent in the world.
Okay.
And he played just about 3 test matches.
Yeah.
So you have to ask him if he follows cricket.
Well, not really.
Oh, my bad. I thought this report right. As West Indian,
no, again, so I am not a typical Indian. I'm not from the sugarcane area.
Most of our Guyanese cricketers emerged from the sugarcane, Ron Kanai, the Nagamutus, and all of that.
Right.
But one of the things as time going that I want to ask you, there's always been, there's a CARICOM family. This is my experience, and I'm asking Dr. Kumar Mahabir. I find the Jamaicans tend to view us Guyanese more positively. The Barbadians are half and half. But you always had this little rivalry or little thing with Trinidad and Guyana. How you come for that? People say that Trinidad tend to be the most haughty and arrogant in the CARICOM family, not the Jamaicans, not the Guyanese. You buy that?
Yeah, I know there is not a cordial relationship between Guyanese and Trinidadians, and
it looks like it's changing.
It's changing because our Trinidadians want to come here and invest and get jobs as engineers and so on.
They just send back a whole container, Guyanese.
Yeah, I saw it papers. Yeah. And Jagdeep said you retaliate. Yeah. So that is because, when people are poor and they downtrodden and things, you treat them badly, you don't have respect.
You know about the Guyanese bench at Piaco Airport?
I heard of it. Yes. So things are changing and it's time. And it should have changed a long time ago. But again, the ethnic politics, man, the race-based politics that is taking place in Trinidad and Guyana, where one group feels that they are left out. And again, we come back to the colonial legacy. We have a political system where winner takes all. So you could win an election by one vote, one person, one man or woman.
Remember the other Thai parliament? The other Thai parliament in Trinidad.
Yes, yes.
And the president chose...
Pandey. It was unfair, man, unfair.
He didn't choose Pandey.
No, he chose Manning.
Manning, yeah.
Manning was in the opposition, right? So there was a tie, if I may recount for your audience. There was a tie. And they had to call the president who was to make the decision, who was Robinson, Black Tobagonian. And he chose Manning, who was the opposition leader. Although Pandey had the popular vote in the election. Yeah. Overall, the whole country, he had more votes. Wow. And what did he say? Is for moral and spiritual reasons.
We are 1 minute over time. Listen, before we go, Guyanese have something called Nara. When you have that, and there's something herbal medicine.
You have to get massage.
You gotta get massage. They say in Ghana here, you say a hal Nara.
When you lift up something heavy. Or you twist yourself. But these guys, these folk healers are disappearing, sadly.
We have just narrow linguistics on this program. It was nice.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Please check us out back.
Yes. Akash, my son's name is Akash.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. It means heavenly.
The sky. Yeah.
There's nothing heavenly but...
I never expected to say this, you know.
I gotta tell you how the man misled me by the traffic and his bank code. Anyway,
all right.
Our guest for the first time we've had on this program an anthropologist educated at the University of Florida, born and lives in Trinidad, and lectures at the University of Guyana in anthropology, Dr. Kumar Mahabir, and we've had a treat about the cultural differences between Trinidad and Guyana. He didn't tell us which is the more correct pronunciation, chicken curry or curry chicken, but we leave that when he comes back. Thanks for being with us. Our call-in program is Friday. We see you Friday and next week. Tata, bye-bye.